The perfect 7 marches for Season of Conquest for your murder ball in field fighting, so you can dominate your opponent and get the most kills out of your Season of Conquest and Crystal Tech in Rise of Kingdoms. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Rise of Kingdom video. My name is Legend Ronnie and today I have for you the perfect 7 marches of what I would consider to be the perfect 7 marches for field fighting in Season of Conquest, so you can completely demolish your opponents and get a lot of kills in Season of Conquest, Heroic Anthem, Strife of the Eight, or whichever is going to be. You know, the Crystal Tech, because you do spend a lot on the Crystal Tech. It costs about 1600 bucks, so 7 marches should definitely bring you a lot of results, stats, and whatever you are looking for. Now, before I'm going to go further into the video, I want to say a couple of things about myself. Some services that I have been providing to hundreds of rock players throughout my 2.5 years since I started this. And a couple of them to mention is, you probably have a very powerful account. You're probably struggling on the field fighting, struggling getting stats, probably spending a lot into the game and not understanding why you're not performing the way you should perform. So these are all things that I can help you with, and either setting up your account, setting up your marchers, setting up your composition or equipment, everything there is needed, helping you with the strategy when you have your war in your KVK, or probably helping you leading the war in the KVK. These are all things that obviously can be discussed, and there is a plethora of other things that I can help out, including playing on your account. That is something that I have been doing for a very long time as well, because you probably want stats, and everybody knows how skilled I am as a player, so there's no reason to hide that behind the curtain. If you truly want, this all remains anonymous, and so far everything has been anonymous, so you reap the benefits, you get everything, and nobody knows who was the one behind. You are the boss behind the boss. Now let's get back to our 7 marches, and you already know 4 of the marches because I have done the previous video on my People Please account. You can definitely have to check that video, or if you want you can check that video to get some of the information that I already said there. I don't want to mention and I don't want to say that information again because it would definitely make this video also very long. So the 4 marches that was in that video is Saladin and William, is Guan Yu and Alexander, is Artemisia and YSG, Trajan and Aethelflaed. So these were the 4 marches that were on that video, which I would recommend for a free-to-play to be the goal for a free-to-play low spender as well. But if you're a medium spender, a high spender, you're maxing Crystal Tech each KVK, then you want to aim for 7 marches. You might think that that is a lot of hospital bills, but it's definitely worth it. Now the main reason of these 7 marches is because each march is helping each other, except Artemisia and YSG. Artemisia and YSG is there for pure damage, pure AoE value, but any other marches, including Saladin, he is tanky, but he also provides a 50% march speed reduction for 5 seconds, so it will help you slow down the target so you can kill it. William provides AoE and also provides buff with his 4 skill. Then you go to Guan Yu, who has silence and packs a lot of damage, mobility. Then you go to Alexander, which provides shields and provides damage increase with his expertise. That only benefits from these commanders. And then you have Trajan and Aethelflaed. Trajan is buffing and debuffing. Aethelflaed is debuffing, actually AoE debuffing, which is even more helpful. Now let's go further and how we can improve these 4 marches. Now the 5th march that I would do, and it might sound a little bit crazy for some of you and some people might just not agree, but I've been using it and honestly for me just gives the results. So the 5th march that I would add is Ramses being primary with Tomyris as a second in command, which should be somewhere over here. Still needs work on this account on Ramses and Tomyris, work in progress, but we'll get the job done. So Ramses and Tomyris would be the 5th march, because why is that? And you're probably thinking, well, Aethelflaed is already debuffing with 30%, right? So when you obtain the expertise of Ramses, this is again 30% defense, so they just don't stack. Active skills don't stack. But the problem is how the skills are going off in the same time. Because the 6th March that I'm gonna mention is Xiang Yu with Chandragupta, and I'm also gonna show the equipment that I have on these commanders, so you can have an idea if you want to know how exactly I'm equipping the commanders. But first, let me just mention the pairs. The 6th one is Xiang Yu and Chandragupta, and Xiang Yu also reduces the defense on the target with 30%. Now, what I have noticed when using these 7 marches or some of my other accounts, because I have done this, I mean, some of the accounts that I play, and Xiang Yu is always the first one that goes off. He's generating rage a lot. I usually keep a horn on him as well, so that's even extra rage. And he is the first one that goes off, which means it reduces the defense of the target. The next one is Trajan, then Aethelflaed. After Aethelflaed is Ramses. So you're probably noticing that you get the 3 seconds from Xiang Yu. After that, you get the 2 seconds from Aethelflaed. After that is Ramses. So you have a continuity. At some point the skills are stacking and probably going off in the same time. Probably some of your marches getting silenced from some random Guan Yu over there, and it's not really going off when exactly you want. But for the most part, you get the benefits, or you have a very high chance of keep debuffing the targets. This is the purpose of these marches. And Tomiris is well known for her poison debuff, and on top of that you have the third skill, which this is a passive, and passive skills stack with active skills, so you can get even more defense reduction on the target, plus the 45% stacks. What I've noticed with Ramses and Tomiris, if Ramses is not being hit, is not generating extra rage, and when Tomiris is firing off, is usually around 13, 14, sometimes 15 stacks. But if there is a lot of AoE, if Ramses is also getting a lot of rage buffs, then usually Tomiris gets to around 10 and 11 when she is firing off, which means it's still at least a 30% skill damage increase on the target. So for me, that's really good. And I really like this defense decrease as well, because more defense decrease on the target, it should take even more damage, so that's even better. And Chandragupta gives permanent debuffs on the target. Once it does about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hits on the target with a 50% chance, that's a very high chance, and you get 15 health and defense. So that's pretty amazing. It's kind of a target, I do have to say. This is why I put it at the 6th March, Xiang Yu and Chandragupta. And it's also a rally march. So if you need to rally with cabs, you just retreat Xi and Chandra, and you just press rally and you rally. So it's that simple. And now here comes the 7th March, a commander that I said that is probably not going to be so valuable for field, but unfortunately there wasn't many other options. And this can also be used as a rally. Is not summoned yet on this account is Gilgamesh being primary, and I've used it as a rally composition and it works really great, and Nebuchadnezzar being used as a secondary. Now, Gilgamesh being primary, we all know that Gilgamesh also reduces the health on the target, so you might have a very high chance when Aethelflaed is not debuffing the target, Gilgamesh is also debuffing the target, so it's even more debuffs on the target. And then Gilgamesh helps Nebu stay on for a longer time, because these troops led by this commander take 15% less damage from normal attacks. So if you get swarmed, you should take way less damage. Then your attacks have a 30% chance to inflict blood craving. So if the target is also receiving healing, she gets some damage factor. And there is a lot of attack and health bonuses, which definitely gonna help you out. Nebu also brings march speed, brings defense, brings kill damage. It's a very, very nice march. I like to bring as much AoE as possible, and Nebu is one of the marches that if you do 7, I would definitely want to bring Nebu on the field as well, because of his AoE capabilities. And I know that some players might disagree with bringing so much AoE, and would say that single target marchers are just giving you more severely wounded. But answer me the question, when did a kingdom won a KVK by just causing a lot of damage to the other kingdom? It was always won on the field, like the kingdom that was able to maintain the murder balls. And I've been in a kingdom where we were fighting for days, so I'm not talking about KVKs where you just fight for 12 hours or 14 hours or something like that. We were fighting for days. The kingdom that I was on, it was called a farming kingdom. They were saying that they are farming kills on us and we are good farmers, but in the end we won. So if you arm the farmers with pitchforks, they tend to strike back. The point on this is that they were using a lot of infantry like Pakal and Harald. They were using Cavs, Attila and Takeda, all those super single target marches that bring you so many benefits, and they were indeed causing a lot of pains, but we were able to maintain the field, and therefore we were able to keep rallying their flags, their fortress, and keep burning. So it didn't make a difference that they were causing more damage to us. With the current system into the game, resources are not being a problem anymore. If people really want to commit for a KVK, they can commit. Resources can be found. There's so many cards that you can get even from events, from rewards, from achievements, and so on. Speed ups the same, so there's no longer a big issue. It's all about winning the murder balls and keeping the field battles. So I hope you do get a lot from this video and you always understand the purpose of the marches that I'm always doing, because it's a really big deal. And I have started with this kind of thinking like, I don't know, 3 years ago when I first started the game. I started with Richard, but then I changed that thinking about, I don't know, 6 months into the game or a couple of months into the game. I started changing because I saw the value of skill damage and mobility in the same time, and I was like, this is what I want to do. This is the path that I want to follow, and that's what I have been following since then. This is how I would see the best way to equip a Saladin, or one of the best way. You need at least 1 Mora's Web and 1 dagger. I wouldn't recommend having 2 daggers or 2 Mora's Web. I find that to be a little bit of a waste, but if you think that making sure you keep those stack on, so having like 2 daggers or 2 Mora's Web, it will help out, then yes, definitely go for more of them. But one of each, I would say that is more than enough. After that is Guan Yu. If you have an expertise Guan Yu and you forge a coin, the Horde in the coin is one of the best in slot for Guan Yu. A ring is also really good for Guan Yu, and you're probably wondering why. Because Guan and Alex, they have a lot of skills that involve RNG. RNG is a big part of Rock. What is RNG? RNG is simply these chances that you see on some of the skills, like the 4th skill of Guan Yu, or when you're looking at the 2nd skill of Alex. And that's why is ring as well, because you can have a very high chance that this proccing exactly when you're doing one of these skills, and then that's the moment when you also see like some really big red numbers on the screen. If you keep the shield, it will make Guan Yu a little bit more defensive, and it will help you proc the expertise of Guan Yu. Artemisia is not max on this account, but I can show you some of the equipment that I would do on Artemisia. So this is something very similar that I would put on Artemisia. You don't necessarily need the horn. I plan to have a horn on Artemisia in the end, even though she has the self-silence. I will still have to test regarding that, if the horn is really good or not. But right now, what I would put on Artemisia is the pendant with the 5% skill damage, and probably a book. If you have a book with special talent for archers, those are probably the 2 items that are the best for Artemisia and YSG. So you have a little bit more troops capacity and more skill damage. But on any other archers like Gilgamesh and Nebuchadnezzar, this is a very nice setup with the ring, the horn and the ring. That's what I would put on them. And if you want for Ramses you could do the same 4 pieces, but you don't really need the horn, because Ramses and Tomiris, they don't need to generate rage. You want to make sure that they don't generate enough rage, so you can get the poisons from Tomiris as long as possible. And any kind of accessories that you want to put except the horn on Ramses and Tomiris will just work great. I wouldn't put ring either on Ramses and Tomiris, because they are not the kind of commanders that have a lot of RNG involved, so you don't really need the ring either. So what I usually do on a Ramses and Tomiris right now is something similar like this, either putting a flag to try to give it a little bit of mobility, going with a Delane amulet and a book, it's also a very nice option, and going with the epic set, because Ramses and Tomiris is kind of the third Archer March that you do, even though I said it as a 5th, but is the third Archer March, because you want to have Gilgamesh and Nebu for rallying, so you're most likely going to put the best equipment on Gilgamesh and Nebu, so you want to keep what is left for Ramses and Tomiris. If you still have legendary for a third Archer March, then definitely go with more legendary. If you want to improve the equipment further on archers, is most likely going with the Hydra Blast, but if you have the Dragon's Breath bow with special talent, I wouldn't really go for the Hydra Blast, because you also want to keep the 4 pieces set bonus, which gives you 3% skill damage. So however you want to work around on the equipment on archers, you want to go with the special helmet that gives you 15% attack, you want to go that, maybe take it to special talent, so it gives you like 20% attack, then you can definitely do that. But at least you always have to make sure with the 4 pieces of the set, if you do the Hydra Blast, whichever the weapon with 25% defense is called, then you want to make sure that you keep the 4 pieces, so then you have to forge the pants, the legendary pants, so you keep your 4 pieces set bonus. Because the 3% skill damage, it makes a difference, especially in rallies. For field fight, couple of extra stats is a little bit irrelevant. It definitely helps, but it's not that big of an importance. I saw a lot more importance on accessories than I saw on equipment itself. And this is an optimal Trajan that I will see as an optimal Trajan. You want him to be a machine of buffs. So that's why is even the Karak War Drums is a very nice accessory that you can put on Trajan. So at least 2 other of your marchers will every now and then get some extra rage, which will definitely help them out, and a book for extra troops. Now whichever accessories you want to put on them is definitely going to work out, or if you do Trajan and Harald, I've seen some people do that as well, because it provides better results when Trajan is being swarmed because of the counterattack and the AoE from Harald. Then you probably have to go with a Vengeance on Trajan as well. It will definitely help him out. This is the optimal Cav gear. Now if you want to go for the weapon, I would only use the Dominion or whatever the weapon with 25 attack is used if I would get it with special talent. If it goes with special, then I would replace the 17 defense and just go with that one. Or if you have the halberd with 26 attack, if it's with special talent, there's 9 more stats than this weapon. So at that point, I would also go with the weapon and just have 26 attack. But probably a lot of tests need to be made. Probably 17% defense might give you better results than 20 and something attack. When it's 30 and something like the Dominion, then that's a whole different story. The only thing that this is missing right now is the horn. So this is rally composition for Xiangyu. So I would put the horn over here, horn and ring, and these pieces of the set that you see over here. If you want to go with the helmet from the Season of Conquest, you can do that, but it's too much luck if you get that with special talent. So I personally prefer this one. It's also easier to get with a special talent, but if you get that one with special talent, then you need to work a little bit and reorganize so you can get the 4 pieces set bonus, because counterattack is something that happens every single turn. Every single turn. That's a permanent boost rather than just a couple of stats. So that would be my advice, to try to keep 4 pieces of the set on cabs. Obviously, improvements can be done on infantry as well, because you have the gloves from the set, and then you can go with the special helmet from the Season of Conquest, which gives 15% defense. But I find this one to be easier to get with a special talent, and that's 14.5 defense, rather than spending so many materials on a 15 defense helmet and then trying to get her with a special talent. That's just, I don't know, 1 in 10,000 players that are probably lucky enough to get that helmet, or 1 in 1,000 players that you see them with the Season of Conquest helmet with special talent. That's very rare, but it's also a lot of stats. The weapon and the pants for infantry, in my opinion, is the best in slot with the health. Now, I hope you do enjoy this video, and I hope again that you got a lot of information from this video. Let me know in the comment section below what do you think, and I'll see you on the next one. This is your boy Legeroni signing off, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Peace out, y'all, and take care. See you on the next one, and stay safe out there, my friends.